Every empire thought it would last forever. Rome, Britain, the Ottomans. Each believed their power was unshakable, their influence eternal. But history has no favorites. It builds giants, only to watch them crumble. The Roman Empire ruled for over 1,000 years, yet fell to corruption, greed, and pride. The British Empire spanned the globe, but collapsed under the weight of rebellion and overreach. Even the Great Mongol Empire, unstoppable in its rise, vanished within a few generations. Every empire follows the same pattern. And now, we are living inside one. Our empire doesn't wear armor or build castles. It builds data centers. It fights not with swords, but with influence. Our legions aren't soldiers, they're algorithms. And our empire? It's built on the illusion of endless progress. But like all those before us, we too are showing the signs. Economic collapse. A society distracted by comfort and blinded by convenience. History whispers the same warning again and again. When citizens trade awareness for entertainment and leaders trade vision for vanity, the countdown begins. Empires don't fall in a day. They rot slowly from within until one small spark brings everything down. The question isn't if empires fall. The question is, will we learn before it's too late? The rise and fall of empires is the story of humanity itself. And as history turns its gaze toward us, one question remains. Are we next? Are we just another chapter in this endless cycle? Or can we write a different ending? From the sun-baked bricks of Mesopotamia to the gleaming steel towers of today, the story of civilization is a story of empires. They rise like titans, shaping the world in their image, building monuments that defy time, and creating cultures that echo through millennia. The Romans gave us laws and roads. The Han Dynasty gave us paper and a unified script. The British Empire spread its language across the globe. Each left an indelible mark, a testament to human ambition and ingenuity. So, how does it all begin? It often starts with a spark, a charismatic leader, a technological breakthrough, or a stroke of geographic luck. Think of Rome, initially just a small city-state on the Italian peninsula. Through military genius, strategic alliances, and sheer grit, it grew, swallowing its neighbors, until its eagles cast a shadow from the misty shores of Britain to the deserts of Syria. This initial phase is one of explosive growth, of boundless optimism. Resources seem endless, victories come one after another, and the empire's culture becomes a beacon, attracting talent and tribute from all corners of the known world. It's a golden age, a time of peace and prosperity, the famous Pax Romana, or the tranquility of the Mongol Empire that reopened the Silk Road. The center of the empire becomes a crucible of innovation, art, and philosophy, drawing the best and brightest. Life is good, and it feels like it will last forever. But beneath the gilded surface, the seeds of decline are often sown during this very peak. The bigger an empire gets, the more complex it becomes to manage. Communication across vast distances is slow. Defending thousands of miles of border becomes a logistical nightmare and a massive drain on the treasury. The very expansion that made the empire great now becomes its greatest vulnerability. The Roman Empire, for instance, became so large that it had to be split in two just to be governable. The British Empire, on which the sun famously never set, found itself stretched thin, fighting wars and quelling rebellions on multiple continents simultaneously. This overextension is what historians call imperial overstretch. The military and administrative costs spiral out of control. To pay for it all, taxes are raised, often crippling the very farmers and merchants who form the backbone of the economy. The currency might be debased, leading to rampant inflation. Suddenly, the economic engine that powered the empire's rise begins to sputter. The rich get richer, displaying their wealth with decadent opulence, while the poor get poorer, growing resentful and desperate. This growing inequality frays the social fabric. The sense of shared purpose and collective identity that once united the empire begins to crumble. People start to identify more with their local region, their tribe, or their social class than with the empire itself. Loyalty wavers. This internal decay makes the empire a tempting target for external threats. Neighboring peoples, once dismissed as barbarians, see a weakening giant, ripe for the picking. For Rome, it was the Germanic tribes. For the Ming dynasty in China, it was the Manchus. These external pressures act like a stress test, exposing all the cracks that have been forming within. A healthy empire might repel such invasions, but a sick one, hollowed out by corruption, inequality, and political infighting, begins to buckle. And then there's the human element. The initial generations who built the empire were often hardy, driven, and innovative. But after generations of peace and luxury, the ruling class can become complacent. They inherit power rather than earning it. They become more concerned with palace intrigue and personal enrichment than with the hard work of governance. This political decay is like a disease. Decisions are made for short-term personal gain, not for the long-term health of the state. The bureaucracy becomes bloated and inefficient. The military, once a meritocracy of grizzled veterans, might become a political tool for ambitious generals, leading to civil wars that tear the empire apart from the inside. Think of the chaotic year of the 4 emperors in Rome, a brutal and bloody scramble for power that left the empire severely weakened. Sometimes, the final blow comes from an unexpected direction. Climate change, for example, is not just a modern concern. Shifts in weather patterns could lead to famines that destabilized empires like the Maya in Central America. Pandemics could sweep through, killing a huge percentage of the population, crippling the army and the economy, as the plague of Justinian did to the Byzantine Empire. These unforeseen events, these black swans, can accelerate a collapse that was already in motion. So the fall is rarely a single, dramatic event. It's not a city being sacked in a day. It's a long, slow, grinding process. It's a loss of faith, a loss of economic vitality, a loss of social cohesion, a loss of the will to go on. The borders shrink, provinces break away, the grand monuments fall into disrepair, the vibrant culture fades into a memory. What was once the center of the world becomes a backwater. The Roman Forum, once the bustling heart of a global empire, became a cow pasture for 1,000 years. The great Mayan cities were swallowed by the jungle, their stone pyramids hidden until rediscovered centuries later. This brings us to today. We live in a globalized world, connected by technology, trade, and culture in ways the Romans could never have imagined. Our empire is not one of territory, but of interconnected systems, financial, political, and environmental. And when we look at the patterns of history, the parallels can be chilling. We see immense economic inequality, with a gap between the super-rich and the rest of the world that is wider than ever. We see political polarization and infighting that paralyzes our ability to solve long-term problems. We see the strain of imperial overstretch in our global commitments and in the degradation of our planet's resources. Our environment, the ultimate resource base for our global civilization, is under unprecedented stress. And we are certainly not immune to those black swan events, as the recent global pandemic reminded us all too clearly. Are we showing the same signs of complacency, of a society that has become too comfortable, too divided, and too short-sighted to address the existential challenges it faces? It's a sobering thought. But here's the crucial difference. For the first time in history, we can study this cycle. The Romans didn't have history books detailing the fall of the Akkadian Empire to learn from. The British didn't have detailed analyses of the decline of Spain. But we do. We have the entire library of human history at our fingertips. We can see the patterns. We know the warning signs. We have the knowledge. The question is, do we have the wisdom and the will to act on it? Can we address inequality before it shatters our societies? Can we transition to a sustainable way of life before we exhaust our planet? Can we overcome our political divisions to cooperate on a global scale? The story of empires is a cautionary tale, a warning written in the ruins of forgotten cities and the dust of fallen dynasties. It tells us that no civilization is immortal and that success is never permanent. But it doesn't have to be our destiny. The future is not yet written. Unlike the empires of the past, we are aware of the path we are on. We have the ability to communicate and collaborate on a global scale. We have the scientific knowledge to understand the challenges we face and to innovate solutions. The story of the rise and fall of empires is the story of humanity. Now, the pen is in our hands. We can choose to be another chapter in the same old story of boom and bust, or we can learn from the countless ghosts of history and begin to write a new one. A story of sustainability, of cooperation, and of a future that endures. The choice is ours. Thanks for watching. If you found this journey through history thought-provoking, please hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the stories that shaped our world. Let us know in the comments what you think. Can we break the cycle? We'll see you next time.